There is a way of looking at the world. We get colored by our experience where we are either hurt or we have been cheated or in any manner in business or in
Hmm.
real life
Hmm.
or any subject. They are yet to see anything like that. And
Yeah.
sometimes we have like one example that came up, which is practical but which is funny. I remembered one just now. We had parked our bike near a doctor's clinic just to check whether the doctor was in. And by the time me and my daughter came out, the no parking guys had taken the bike and towed it away.
Hmm.
And that happens to be next to our house, the place where you go and collect it. So she
Hmm.
ended up saying, "Oh wow, they are dropping it for us to our house before we reach there." I'm like, okay. I never saw it like that.
Hmm.
But it is actually a now I'll get into the dissecting it. Actually, if I were to live very far away from it, for example, then it
Hmm.
would have been a different kind of pain going to a certain place and picking up my bike and coming back home.
Yeah.
And she really saw only the positive of it without even having to try.
Hmm.
And in a manner where she saw it as a privilege that somebody else was giving us. Now,
Yeah.
that kind of navet is um, not only endearing, it also makes you a better human being because it says that we are being colored by one perspective. So, when it comes back to loneliness, the idea of loneliness is because we are not sitting comfortably being grateful for something. We're sitting with a complaining mindset. This just came to me when I'm trying to correlate. But do you think we need to relook and you'll find your kid is six if you've given him some toys or something which you would think they are boring, they won't work today. And next 3 hours he's engaged with something which you thought was like not even worth 2 minutes of pastime.
Right.
He's on and on and on and on, and suddenly you come back and see and you're saying, okay, what is so great about this? Sometimes
Hmm.
it's a broken car or some such thing.
Hmm.
But they
Yes.
find something where they are sitting to either mend it or
Yeah.
create a new game out of it. So
Hmm.
is it that we, in spite of being creative, have become so
Hmm.
serious about our own lives that
Yeah.
we are refusing to see the situation for what it is worth. We are
Yeah.
just thinking, okay, this is the only way to look at it. Is
Yeah.
that a mindset problem?
Uh, yes, I think it definitely is a mindset problem. No doubt about it. Um, but also, I don't know if there is a, honestly, I don't know if there's a solution to it. I feel like today, right? Today, and if you look at life a few years back, where the lives are much simpler, there are lesser things to dictate what you did in a day, for example, as opposed to today. You want to wear 100 hats and you want to excel at them all. Like nobody wants to take a step back. Everybody wants to be the ace person. So obviously, that kind of pressure and that kind of wanting that lifestyle or whatever is going to drag you down. I mean, and it is not just a one person problem, it's everybody's problem today, right? That's a kind of pressure situation. We're all in a pressure cooker constantly. We are always there and we're always getting that constant push and shove. uh, and when we are like that, there is what is going to obviously happen is we keep clumbering inward, right? I mean, that's the only way we look at it. And unfortunately, COVID has happened and that's made things worse. But even then, like you said, right, we were already heading there as a generation. I'm seeing more and more disconnected people. Like I mean, I'm sure you know this as well, but whenever you enter any place, everyone's dug their phones, their heads into their phones like nonstop, and there is absolutely no social interaction. And you will not believe, but I have done this too. I mean, I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to really talk to anybody at this point. I dig my head into the phone, and I'm actually doing absolutely nothing, but I just don't want to have a conversation. So that's also an escape I take. It's a route I use, unfortunately, and I do it. Or I am sometimes like I just plug in earphones which are not playing any music, just so that I don't want to talk. And like, so I keep realizing that from where, like from being a child, like my mom will always tell me, you were the most talkative child. If somebody comes home, you'd be like blah 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 blah. See this, see that, see my talent, kind of a person. And now I've reached to a place where I'm like, it's okay. No, I don't want conversations. I'm good. So I don't know what it is, but we all Have you all did? A lot of us have.
So now when people want to show their talent, you're not willing to listen.
Yeah. And I have no time. I have earphones on.
On a serious note, uh,
Hmm.
I have one difficult question up for you. You kept saying we for a while. We are all like this and we are like this. When it comes to responsibility, we are very willing to call it we. But isn't loneliness a solo responsibility? If I am feeling not good about myself for whatever reason, shouldn't I try and find peace for myself to start with? I'll give you an example I've
Hmm.
used in some other podcast in some other context. But
Hmm.
when we practice Vipassana meditation, one of the things that was asked to the main Guruji was, what about world peace? He says
Hmm.
to have a forest of green trees, every tree needs to be green. So similarly, for us to abolish or suspend loneliness, at least temporarily, if nothing permanent, we need to start working on the one tree that we have in our hand, which is our own mind and body. Is it
Yeah.
not true that we should try and? I'll give you an example. Since I'm a meditator, I kind of am lucky to know both sides of the coin. When COVID hit us, we've been talking to each other as friends, a lot of friends. I found that my meditator friends kept on saying, now I've started sitting more. They were
Hmm.
initially, obviously, it has
Hmm.
gone on for too long. None of us are sitting here to become Buddhas immediately.
Yeah.
That effort itself is different.
Hmm.
But initially, what hit most people hit meditators lesser.
Hmm.
Especially, I'm talking in context of Vipassana because if people sign up for Vipassana, you are told to go and sit alone for 10 days anyways. So that itself
Hmm.
is a sense of isolation, sense of loneliness, and it is
Right.
one of the most. Uh,
Right.
Even now, if I recommend it to someone, I tell them it is going to be very horrible. You will want to kill me. If you still want to go, then fill the form. Otherwise, don't bother. Because you
Hmm.
cannot suddenly jump into something like this without adequate understanding of what you're signing up for. Uh, COVID unfortunately did not give a bunty or a form.
Hmm.
There was
Hmm.
no knock knock on the door incoming. It just came. In fact, I remember very clearly when I saw those Chinese guys wearing masks. I said, we make a statement out of everything here. Why can't they just be normal? Not realizing in less than 1 year, the entire world will be pressurizing us to wear masks and move around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question to you in a scenario like this, if I'm not particularly talking to you about your experience, is there
Hmm.
anything that you tried when you do not have your mother, not your child, um, and the regular resources of your mobile and internet connectivity or work,
Hmm.
when you're surely having to face that loneliness for a while, whether
Huh.
for a minute or for an hour? Is
Hmm.
there something that you found out about yourself? Is there any good to it, or is there an absolute sense of dejection? What is the mindset?
Mm, no, there's a lot of good to it. Honestly, after being locked down in with the family for those many days, weeks, and months, if I had to be alone, it was like it was party time. Honestly, it reached there
Okay.
because there was peace. There was a lot of internal peace that one could have just sitting, gathering, sometimes doing nothing. So um, when I feel like I'm lonely, actually, honestly, this is the two things I do. I turn to a book because I read a lot, or I sketch, or I paint. So like these two outlets I have, and they make me feel absolutely balanced in the head. Because in fact, I actually chance when I look at it in a positive light, if I want to look at it positively, I feel like it would be, loneliness is a good thing depending on what you make of it, right? Um, Sometimes it can also be a boon.
Okay. So are you saying that for any kind of contemplation or any kind of deep understanding of um, what one is, loneliness can actually be a boon because reading also um, is a slower pastime than most pastimes.
Hmm.
And if you are reading something which is really contemplation worthy, which is not a fiction novel, for example, so you would want to pause and reflect on what you've read. You
Hmm.
internalize, you question whether it works the way the author is meaning it to, what has been your experience when you're reading some serious stuff.
Hmm.
Or alternately, when you're sketching, you're discovering new ways of expressing yourself sometimes, or an old way of letting out energy which otherwise would be harmful to you. So you find, oh, this is something I haven't tried, or so these are self discoveries that happen. So
Hmm.
loneliness has this outlet that leads us inwards in a very contrarian way.
Hmm.
Do you think that has happened often, or is there any time when it does not work at all?
It's a balanced situation. There are times when I feel like, oh, this is great, fantastic, now I have my peace. And there are times when I feel, oh my God, I feel overwhelmed and I feel extremely low. And I feel like, oh no, okay, I'm so alone and I have nobody, and so I have those days as well. And very well knowing that I have people around me and I have things to fall back on, or relationships I can depend on. I still feel I hit that low. Probably it's human to hit that low, but you just have those days. So yeah, I do have those days, and honestly, when I have those days, I'm a sulk bag. I will just probably sit somewhere, and I'll not enjoy my own company, which I would in other times. So yeah, and is there a solution to it? Sometimes I feel like there is no solution to it. You sulk and then you get up, you dust your hands, and you go back to doing what you have to do. I mean, things have to go on. Things have to move on.